So in 3 days time, Extinction Chronicles 5 is going to be released for Ark Survival Evolved, which is obviously October the 16th. There is going to be a lot of new changes within this update as it is building up to the release of the Extinction DLC. We're going to be going through everything that is going to be coming within this update, guys, and this is the reason why it most likely will be ×2 bigger than any of the Extinction Chronicles we have had before. Now, as always, if you guys do enjoy today's video, make sure to smash a like on it because it really does mean a lot to me, guys. It supports the channel so much. And make sure to be subscribed if you do not want to miss out on all the Extinction content coming your way in the next 2 to 3 weeks. It is going to be absolutely amazing and I cannot wait to start my brand new series. Anyway, we're going to be getting with the video now, so I hope you guys do enjoy. So if you guys saw in my video about 3 or 4 days ago, WILDCARD released the new community crunch. Now in that community crunch, they addressed what was going on with meshing and how they were going to work on fixing it and stuff, and it wasn't the most amazing response. They basically just said to us, I'm sorry, there's really not anything we can do right now. We're trying our best with everything as possible, and they had a massive, explanation about what's going on with the whole thing. Now, Extinction Chronicles 5 is going to be very crucial for the release of Extinction because WILDCARD are going to be putting as many things into place to make sure they can stop as much meshing as possible for Extinction. So WILDCARD's next big decision for this update is whether they're going to be bringing in the kill floors or like kill volumes to put under the map to stop people from meshing through it. Now currently they're like 50-50 about this, and it's because WILDCARD have said if one of your dinos or creatures accidentally goes into the mesh a bit, this kill volume will completely just get rid of that dino or whatever tame creature. But the biggest argument that the community is saying back to WILDCARD is that we really don't mind accidentally sometimes losing the odd tame. You know, we'd rather that than have people constantly meshing, ruining the game. And let me know in the comment section down below what you guys would prefer. Because in my opinion, WILDCARD should put in these kill volumes, these kill zones to stop people from meshing, because if you do lose the odd tame, it's really going to be frustrating. But it's, you know, it's a rare occasion where something's going to glitch under the map. I know obviously like there's different things like the basilisk and aberration and stuff that might glitch through the map quite a lot, which is why WILDCARD are strongly currently against releasing the kill volumes. They're 50-50, but they're swaying away from it because they obviously glitch under the map a lot, some of those creatures, so they don't want that to be, you know, unusable in the game because it constantly just keeps getting killed by the kill volumes in the game. I really feel like WILDCARD should, like, you know, take this opportunity to just give these kill floors, kill volumes a test. If they fail and they really don't work, they can always just revert the update, and like I just would love something to be put into place so players can actually see that, you know, WILDCARD are actually trying to make a difference for meshing because it's such a massive problem within the game, and I feel like this would make Extinction Chronicles 5 the best update for a lot of official players for a very, very long time. So that's obviously that part of the update, and I'm just going to let you guys know about a few things that are going to be coming with Extinction as well. So, the Extinction Chronicles 5. So we're probably going to be getting the final edition of admin commands. Now, if you guys know, in Extinction Chronicles 2, we got the rain dinos and stuff command. I've mentioned that a few times in videos. We should be getting some other final ones just before the Extinction DLCs added in, because WILDCARD need to make sure all the mechanics are in the game in preparation for different things like the tower defense. That for me is something I can't wait to do a review for you guys on. I can't wait to actually do like the tower defense thing and seeing what rewards you get and seeing how hard it is and if there's different difficulties and stuff. That is going to be absolutely amazing. I don't know what commands they're going to be because they're probably just going to be different things that will fit into the game well. When Extinction is released as well, we may get some separate commands on that, but then that is going to be bringing, you know, the old loaded Crisis videos back, how to spawn in and stuff, so I hope you guys are looking forward to that. Now, there's going to be a new tech dino, and now what I've actually can confirm with you guys, some new information, is that they may not now be releasing all 3 final pre-order skins for Extinction Chronicles. It's looking like we may only get 1 more coming to the game. Now, where I saw this information is on the community crunch. WILDCARD did put saying, obviously the release date for Extinction Chronicles 5, saying there's going to be a new tech dino, and they didn't say there's going to be more than one. So unfortunately, it's not looking like we will be getting all three, and I don't think there'll be any more Extinction Chronicles. So the new tech dino coming with that update is going to be between the Tech Moser, the Tech Trike, and the Tech Quetz. So that is going to be something we'll find out when that does drop in 3 days time. And there's going to be the new colors for dinos coming, which obviously, you know, last time I think it was green and black, and they've changed whenever a new one's come out, so we'll get the final colors. So make the most of the ones we have right now. And the final piece of the corrupted armor should be coming, which I think is the gauntlets. I think they're doing the gauntlets. I don't know why they wouldn't do a full suit. And the final explorer notes. So that'll be the final bit of information to read up to and get some information for Extinction before it is released. But that mainly is the new big changes. I think obviously it was mainly to do with meshing. We're still getting some other stuff. And I usually do like an average of what I think the update is going to be. And the last few have been like 4 or 5 gigabytes. But with the addition of so much stuff just before in preparation for the DLC, we're probably going to be looking at 8, 9 or 10 gig, which is going to be frustrating for a lot of you guys, because you're just going to be like I'm going to lose time out on a server because your internet might not be as fast or anything like that. That could be very frustrating for a lot of people. Anyway, guys, I hope you did enjoy. I'm going to leave you now with a little bit of the information that I did cover on meshing the other day, if you guys want to know a little, you know, more in depth with the main parts of it. Thank you for watching. Leave a like on today's video. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll catch you guys in my next video very soon. See you guys later. Undermeshing refers to the ability to get where you aren't supposed to by moving outside of the playable space. Almost every game, you know, has undermeshing in some form. Most speed runs rely on undermeshing. Let me just quickly stop the video here at this point. I know this is a fact, that there's undermeshing in any game, and it's just sometimes it's never found. In Ark is much of a bigger thing, because you can actually, you know, the game is about being able to raid people, especially on PvP, and then you know, get their loot and everything. Whereas on a game like Fortnite, where there's undermeshing problems you guys may know about, it's not really something that they want to do, because it's not going to help them win, because the storm's going to come in anyway. Whereas Ark Survival Evolved, you can use it to get into people's bases and then get out, you know, get under the map, then get back out of the map, and it, you know, it just avoids all defenses. So most speedruns, as I say, rely on undermeshing. For example, it's effectively impossible to solve completely, at least automatically. The approaches taken to prevent it are usually a trade-off between how much freedom you want the player to have and how complex your world is, and how much processing time you can afford to spend on physics. Generally, when there's an instant of meshing, it's caused by a bad collision setup, improper level, which is holes in the map, or a problem with the algorithm used to move the character through the world. In some instances, you could place kill volumes in locations that you want to guarantee the player doesn't end up in, but that isn't the global solution. So, just to round up there, what they're saying is people like myself, I've definitely mentioned it before, have said, right, why don't you just put a massive kill platform on, you know, underneath the map, and, you know, that will stop it. But they're saying that this isn't a global solution. The collision setup for our objects varies based on their complexity. Sorry if I say anything wrong. This is very late and I'm very tired, but I wanted to you know, tell you guys all of this stuff. For very simple objects, we use a basic primitive shape, box, sphere, capsule. Now, if you are someone that gets involved with modding, game creating, you know, development and stuff, you'll understand this a bit more. Some of this stuff may not mean anything to anyone. That matches the shape of the object. It's very good if you're able to take this approach, because, you know, the physics system can treat that individual object as a watertight, ensuring that the other physical object will never end up inside of it. So they're trying to explain it in the easiest way possible. I know this may be confusing, and I will try and explain it, you know, in the easiest form, because I'm not saying I've ever done game development, but I did try and get into it and do some courses on it. But, you know, I don't really know much about it myself. myself, so I can't explain everything, and that you'll always detect if you're already inside, basically. So when constructing a modern game, however, it is very likely that you will need to use shapes that are more interesting to look at and interact with more than a simple box or sphere in the game. So you use mesh-based collision. Mesh collision treats the surface of the mesh as a collidable surface, but it cannot be treated as a watertight, and the physics system cannot guarantee that you don't pass through it. You might ask why. Then don't you try to represent the larger object as a bunch of smaller watertight ones? We do that in a small number of instances, but quantity of primitives is also a major concern, so it is not feasible to do this for the entire world. Take the ground under your feet, for example. At any given moment, you'd be surrounded by thousands of primitives to approximate the surface of natural-looking ground. And yet, it'll be less smooth than the pure mesh shape. In addition, a guarantee to not end up inside of a single body isn't a guarantee that you won't end up between them, even if you're tightly clumped, leading to more instances of getting stuck. So that was a massive bit to read through, and I know many of you guys would have got lost in me talking through that. So what they're trying to explain is, if you want to use, when you're creating a game like Ark Survival Evolved, it isn't a simple game like Minecraft. I'm not saying Minecraft is a simple game, but it was more simple. It wasn't, it's not like this crazy world. It still is a crazy world, but it's in block form. Within Ark, you're wanting to create this insane world, this crazy world where you need to use more complex stuff to be able to make the ground look nicer, to make the mountains look good. And if you didn't do that, you would just have a cube world, basically. And with this, you have to use meshing, and this is the huge problem with meshing, because you can't, people are always, you can't make it physically unable to get through because it's just not possible at the moment, and there's always going to be a way around it. So let's get straight back into it anyway, and I hope you guys are understanding this as possible as possible. I don't even know what I'm saying because, as I said, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm tired. When we lay out our levels, we construct them in a way that it is interesting and optimize them for efficiency so that we can maximize quality and quantity. What that means is generally the world outside of the space you're meant to play in is empty. We spend our resources on the spaces where players are at. In addition, we reuse assets many times, rotating a rock in different ways to make it look different before shoving it into the terrain at various different depths to mask the reuse and keeping it visually pleasing. Technically, the physics for these objects overlaps, and if you get past the surface of one, you'll stand on the next one down. While that sounds like it would help, it actually is the meat of the problem. Adding more meshes doesn't help, because once you get past one, you can get past the next one. That said, there will be many instances where we flagged the collision on an object incorrectly or left a minute hole that we could do and address through level design. So what they're saying is, you can't just place a rock and then place another one below it to stop someone from getting through. The mesh is still a problem. Let's say they've got the climbing picks, which is a huge issue at the moment. They can get through that rock using the climbing picks. If they put another one behind that, that doesn't stop them from using the climbing picks to get through the other one. So you can't just keep putting rocks and rocks and rocks, because there's going to be someone out there in the world that it has the time to try and get through the world. If they just put loads and loads and loads of rocks beneath it, there's still going to be someone there who is going to spend 10 hours of their day going through rocks just so they can exploit the game. It's always going to happen, guys. It always is. Nearly every game uses custom physics for characters. Much of ours is built on the out-of-a-box simulation that you would get from the Unreal Engine. Unfortunately for our players, our game is where the world is vast and complex, and players have the freedom to build many objects and have many dinos. Unfortunately for us, the pushes of all these algorithms to their breaking point, we've had to rework things and add additional tests in many places that affect the simulation to improve our core player experience. In addition, we built many gameplay mechanics that don't exist out of the box. Wall climbing, for example, requires a completely new set of physics tests to understand the hug the wall surface, basically. When we set these up, we build them to be as flexible as possible, but it can be difficult to predict how the player base will use something when they get it in their hands. In many cases, this is a good thing. We're delighted with the creative things that our players do, but sometimes they're able to abuse mechanics in unintended ways. When we find problems with them, we have to find solutions that won't break the mechanic completely, for the other many use cases. Sometimes an impossible feat. This is also why we aren't quick to completely disable a feature. We evaluate how much harm versus good it is doing across the entire experience. So what they're saying is when they create something, they all test it themselves, but there's probably 10 of them in the studio. I mean, there's obviously more than that, but let's just say there's 10 of them in the studio. You create something and 10 people review it. This game has hundreds of thousands of players currently. I wouldn't say millions anymore because it has, it isn't as popular as it was for Extinction. There's possibly going to be millions on Extinction. They are the ones that test it out. So they release something for people to test. And if it, because then they get way more than just 10 people, then they can find out where there's problems. If there's huge problems, they can tweak things, they can change things, and that's what they like to do. And that's why they're saying they're happy with how creative their player base is, because they can find out things that they wouldn't have found out if they didn't have such a creative audience. So the next bit is we do use kill volumes at a broad scale, usually high in the air or far below the surface, far outside of the player space to segment specific areas. The reality though is that when someone is meshing, they're not usually out in that empty space around the world. They're running around on the inside of overlapping shapes or physical surfaces that are below the real surface. In order to implement kill boxes in these places, we'd have to go back to every location in the map and place a kill volume just below the surface that will kill someone that touches it. As with the terrain example above, it would require entirely too many objects to cover the entire world in these to be absolutely perfect. In addition, a major downside to this approach is also the fact that it would detect and kill something that may have a good reason to be below the mesh. Obviously on the giant snake, you just got killed by the kill volumes, misjudged where the surface is, and a bunch of players are being killed and losing their stuff for no reason. So what they're trying to sum up there is, let's say that giant snake, which I can't say the name of, which you guys will, basilisk, I think that's what it is. Let's say there's a kill volume underneath the map where they have tried to stop it from meshing. That could accidentally glitch under the mesh and die, and then you could fall through and die and lose all your stuff, or just lose some sort of dino that you've worked so hard to get. So WILDCARD need to be very careful, because if they put these kill zones down, then and it doesn't fit properly, or something glitches under the map or something, then the next problem is going to be people complaining because the kill zones are killing their tames, or they're losing their stuff and everything. So they've got a problem, and they've got to weigh it up 50-50 what's the best decision for the game. As with all aspects of making a game, it's basically a balancing act. We try to spend our time on the things that are most valuable to many of our players as possible, which means attacking holes in the world in waves and making changes, couldn't even speak, when it becomes obvious that they are having a large enough negative effect on the experience for our players. The reality is that there is no silver bullet, no automatic solution, so it continues to be a problem in our game and many others. Continue to fight throughout their lifetimes. Recently, we fixed a bunch of holes across all of the maps and did a pass at removing climbing pick exploits. Going forward, our best bet is to remain just open-minded about resolving issues as they arise and improving the experience over time. The good news is that we're solving hard problems, and exploits like these, are becoming more interesting, but they're trying to tackle them as much as possible.